Hello everybody, my name is Patrick, and I'm going to go ahead and jump straight into Elex 2. Now, not actually the game, but the tactics on how to conquer the world if you were putting it into it. I'm going to try to start a series of something I like to do for fun, and it's basically where you imagine for games like that usually aren't top-down games. It's games like Fallout, Skyrim, or in this case, Elex, or all those type of games. Well, this is Elex 2, really. But for those type of like franchises, what if you were just plopped into there, and knowing the knowledge you have as a gamer and someone who's like knows all the secrets and knows how the society works and everything and all the politicals in and outs that you've known from playing the game, what if you could use that to conquer the world? So that I'm going to kind of just walk through at least what I would do based on just going on the map, talking about the factions I would join. Now, to do this, I kind of need to get into the backstory of this game, kind of the story about like what each different faction is. So in Elex 2, you can join 5 different factions. There are 6 if you count the alien invasion. Spoiler alert, which isn't spoilers because it's in the beginning of the game. There's an alien invasion that they want to like murder people, you know? So let's kind of get into that. Let's go ahead and start north-ish. So first we have the Albs. The Albs are highly advanced technologically and super soldiers. They have a lot of robots, a lot of good technology, laser weapons, and they eat the mineral, Elex, right here. They eat that mineral, and it turns them it either turns you into a super soldier or into a mutant, right? So think about that. Now, the Albs originated from the clerics. I don't want to call them clerks because they're spelled that way, but they are clerics. The clerics at least used to be, and most of them still are, religious zealots. These religious zealots worship the god called Kalan, and it's just, imagine like the Crusaders, right? They were kind of like that, like glory to Kalan, blah 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 blah. But then their former base, which actually used to be right here, very technological. They used to be extremely technologically advanced. And they still somewhat are. They got driven out by the Albs, and then they got destroyed by the aliens. So that's kind of gone for them, right? But now they're kind of more chill, and I like them a lot because of that, and because they can't really be super like you have to serve our god. They're more chill, and they're more like normal people than all the rest of them. Now the Berserkers. So the Berserkers right here, they're kind of like anti-technology. They love like the earth and stuff like that. They're the tree huggers. They're the tree huggers, right? They love magic. They can do magic. But also, all the green you see on the map is because of those berserkers. The berserkers are the reason that the green is there. They use these things called world hearts and magic that they get from Elex by using magic. The Morcons right there are very, they kind of worship like a god that likes to kill people and stuff. So, very violent. They believe in like fighting and death and yeah. And then you have the Outlaws, which like to kill each other and everybody and do drugs. Lots of drugs. Their entire benefit to joining the faction is you get drugs. That's it. And in their faction you can kill anybody, no consequences. Just kill them. Done. Goodbye. Hey, some people, And then you have the aliens. The aliens, which are right here. The those are those guys, right? That's the aliens. So those are your 6 factions, 5 of which are joinable. Now, let's go ahead and kind of go into, I guess, the politics of it, more just the war that's going on. So you have 2 different fights right now. You have the Albs, which are taking the main brunt of the alien attack. By the way, the aliens are kind of here, and here. So the aliens are around more, but their main area is up here by the pink. And so the Albs and the aliens right now, they're duking it out, right? They're duking it out. And then the Berserkers and the Morcons are duking it out. Something you may want to know is that the most powerful factions in the game, at least at the start, are the Albs, the Berserkers, and the Morcons. So all the major factions are getting beat up and beating somebody, right? The only 2 are the minor factions, which again, still joinable. You can make them great, but they don't start out that way, are the Clerics and the Outlaws. They aren't fighting anybody, really. So they're kind of a good place to start out. Now, 2 things I want to cover right before I start saying which faction I would join is first, in the actual game, you end up taking control of the Bastion and starting your own faction. I'm gonna be real with you, fuck that shit. In the game, and except for like parts of the main storyline and the very end of it, the aliens don't matter except for fighting the Albs. Like with the Albs and the aliens fighting. So I mean, like, I don't I don't care. So we're just gonna focus on this, right? The aliens will come last. We'll united front, blah blah blah. We kill the aliens. That's what's gonna happen at the end. Who gives a shit about the aliens? What I want to give a shit about is what happens outside of this map here. In the first game, there's a whole lot of stuff over on the left, and that is, I'm just gonna show you it, but I'm not gonna like actually incorporate it. But just kind of so you know, the Albs had a base over here. Oh, you can't even see that. Hold up. The Albs have a base like over here, which is the Ice Palace. Like it has like planes and bombers and a whole bunch of soldiers and people, right? So they have the Ice Palace, which is IC, very cool place in Zacor. That's what it's called. And then you have Goliath for you have dog. Okay, you have Goliath for the Berserkers. Now, in reality, in the game, this faction, these parts of those factions don't matter, right? It's just kind of there, and it's like, yeah. But basically, what the purpose of saying that is, if we were to side against them or end up trying to kill them, they could do damage, because even if you take out their bases here and here, they still have a more centralized and more powerful hub that they can whip your ass. These are basically, this is literally called a depot, and this is just a fort that they captured. So it's just one of their forts and one of their depots that are up here for the Albs and the Berserkers. So don't fuck with them. With that in mind, let's go ahead and break down which faction I would actually join. Now, as you can see me getting it ready for my black color, I'm going to actually join the Clerics. Now, why would I do this? First off, all the major factions are fighting each other, and many of them do weird stuff to make you join them. The Outlaws, actually, that's not even the major faction. The Albs are like, the only reason you can join them in the main game is because you are a former Alb commander. That's the only reason. There's no way a random ass Joe like you or me, without being a flippin' super soldier of a hell everything, without being like a special forces mofo, there's no way you're getting in there. All right, so that's just off the table. The Morcons will probably make you, they like balance, so they'll capture you as a prisoner, torture you, and then make you join when someone else dies. I'm not really wanting that, and it's very hard to rise through those ranks without being a religious zealot. The Berserkers, you could honestly probably join. Their leader, Rat, and like of the fort, is a bit of a rat, but he knows politics, and I just want to be able to use technology, right? The Clerics still have their energy weapons and stuff, and that's what I want to be able to utilize, and they have the most room to grow. All the major factions, especially the Berserkers, have a lot of like bureaucracy they're going through right now because they're getting so big. So it's just like, I don't want to deal with that. So I'm going to go to Clerics because I think they have the best opportunity to grow. They have good technology. They've kind of started to realize we can't be religious zealots and expect people to like us. So they're toning down on that. They're like normal people, but their own faction. So I'm just like, let's pop our asses in there, you know? Now let's get into actually how to conquer the map, right? The major factions are duking it out, and you just have the Clerics and the Outlaws, right? The Outlaws are just killing motherfuckers, and they're doing drugs. Now, what I'd actually want to do is take, now the Clerics don't have many people, they're very understaffed, but take every little mofo we got that we can spare, and send it to, oh, it's Eraser. Send it to F up the Outlaws and take some of their motherfuckers home, right? Whether that's we take this thing out entirely or we capture it, I don't know. Whatever we do, we're just going to say this place no longer really a threat, and we're going to be taking recruits. The reason I say that now is for two reasons, and it's like the reason I'm not actually going to want to capture it, and I just want to just take people back, is one, the Berserkers fort used to be the Outlaws' main base. They kind of just went in there and said, alright, everyone who's in here is going to become one of us. And some of them did leave saying like, no, I'm a true outlaw, but most of them were like, alright, sure, right? Because they wanted warm food, they got money every single day, and they all kind of assimilated. I think I can do the same thing with the majority of the non-hardcore outlaws. A lot of these people aren't too bad, they're just regular, average, everyday Joes, right? They will join, especially if I kind of force them. So I'll do that. Secondly, why I will not capture this area is simply because it is a actually shit defensible position. It's literally a crater. So, and there's actually a problem where in the main story, it's kind of under attack by a whole bunch of alien like and like a whole bunch of animals, and it's just kind of like yeah, and even the guy in charge of it, the Duke of Arturus, where it is, says we're in a shit place. All right, we are in a horrible, horrible place. So I'd rather have my defensible position up here, right? So we kind of take it from there, and then we start bringing mofo's back, right? So we are now going to be able to bolster our ranks. That will make us a bit more powerful because one of our big problems is we don't have the technology we used to, but we're kind of okay with that. We don't have the resources we used to. We don't have the people we used to have. And the more people we have, we could probably start fixing and start working on the technology and resource side, right? So now that we have people, we can start allocating that and start branching out to get in different resources, right? So let's go ahead. We'll end up start doing that. Now, something we're going to want to do is we want the albs to be strong, right? We want the albs to be strong. By the way, though, the albs, some of the defectors do come over to us, so we might want to say go to the albs and say, hey, we want to be on good terms, right? You and me want to be friendly, so we'll return the defectors. Maybe, maybe not. That's kind of your own decision if you wanted to do that. But we definitely want to do is the berserkers and the morcons, right? The berserkers and the morcons are duking it out. Both of their strength over time is lowering. So basically, what's happening is you have the morcons and the berserkers are wearing down each other's strength, while the clerics, after doing that thing with the outlaws, is just building, 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 building. So once you think you're more powerful enough, what you could do is I would suggest one of two things. Either you go in and you just kind of wham both their armies when they're in the middle of it, just go, you're gonna die, and then go fuck at the morcons, right? Or you can take a little bit more diplomacy and make a deal with the berserkers. Say, hey, I can end this war for you, and then you kind of help them out defeating the morcon army. Either one really works, but what you really want is a second base of operations or like an outpost. And for that, we're gonna want the so I'll go ahead and take this out. We're gonna want the morcon base. Now, what the morcon base is right here is it's a ghetto, and it's called the morcon ghetto. And what it is really is it's just the underground of a city. Like imagine like New York City, but it's like it's subway and everything. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's just like the underground area subway, and it's absolutely huge, and it's kind of been built out by mining and stuff. So it's a very huge area, and it's very defensible. There's really only one way in, one way out, which though can be bad. There's probably like a secret way. There's a whole bunch of places where if their army is defeated, we might be able to, whether with the help of the berserkers or not, especially with our advanced technology, assault it and hopefully do the same thing that we did with the outlaws and the berserkers did with the outlaws, is take it over and say, all right, who wants to join us? And everyone else who doesn't want to join us, we like kill or whatever we end up doing, right? We kill them, we throw them out, we do a mix of the two, and we'll most likely get a solid influx of good fighters, good resources, another base, and just more people in general. Some of them are very good with technology. They actually have a secret society, and their leader is the one who makes their like super soldiers, which they have like 3 of. But they probably have more. But it's just the 3 that you're able to see, you can actually see. I've never sided with them, so I don't know how much they truly have. But you could probably make some deals with those people, influx them into your faction, and now once that is done, let me erase all of this. Let's kind of redraw the lines, right? This is what you now have. Instead of the morcons here, you kind of just take out the morcons because they're just bloodthirsty worshippers. A lot of the people inside of them, half of them literally don't like the bloodthirstiness. They're like called the poachers and the resistors or something like that. And the poachers are the nice guys, and the resistors are the like, I will kill everybody. So that's what you have. So the clerics will take this over as well. And just start trading with themselves right over here. So there we go. No more morcons. The clerics have that, and then maybe we don't want to kill the berserkers again because they're some good people, right? We want to just chill with them. So now the clerics are about probably as strong as the albs, and it kind of just gets very simple from here, right? With no 6 power to fight the aliens will eventually become a threat. So what you want to do with your newfound power, besides just gathering resources and building your strength slowly and stuff like that, and also making sure you don't get hacked, because that's a problem that they actually had in the real game. Is you're gonna want to start, being friendly. Oh shit! I did it again. You're gonna want to start being friendly with the berserkers, and you're gonna want to start being friendly with the Albs. Now, the Albs may not want to be friendly with you, considering you have some of their turncoats. But what choice do they really have, right? You have to be kind of nice to them. They have to be nice to you, so you can all fight the aliens together. So the three powerful factions, have the berserkers request some mofos from their base over here, and then same with the Albs, and say, all right, we got all we need. Let's go and take these mofos out, right? The Albs, afterwards, you probably would fight, right? Because before the alien invasion ever even happened, it was the Albs versus the clerics, and that's how the clerics lost a lot of their power. Whereas the Albs just beat the fuck out of them. I just swore. I think that's the first time I swore in this video. Shoot. Well, that sucks. But they just kind of kept fighting. But I would do our best to either clap back at the Albs and take that risk of losing everything after this big war happens, which I should probably start deleting all this stuff. There we go. You may want to either take the fight to the Albs and try to take this area over, but then Zakor would be going after you with all their air supports, and that would kind of suck. And because all of your technological stuff from this area and this area has kind of been exhausted anyway, considering the aliens and you've already spent your time there, I would really suggest just saying, Albs, let's be friends, right? Let's be friends. It's also just aliens are dealt with. Let's be friends, let's chill, and make peace with the berserkers as well. Because the berserkers are making everything green, which isn't bad. There's also something I forgot to mention. Somewhere about here, right here. Let me color that in orange real quick. And I forgot to mention that because I just discovered that in the game, actually. I just got to that point in the game. There are the Alb Separatists, which you could probably convince to join you. You might not be able to, but you might be able to work with them during the alien invasion, and you might be able to get them to join you. Nice influx of super soldiers with advanced training and advanced weaponry. So that wouldn't be bad to just add to you at the very beginning. I don't know if you'd be able to, but if you believe you have the diplomacy skills to do it, by all means. Because remember, what this really is, and I'll go ahead and I'm about to end it, is what this really is this is you. Whoever you are. I know who I am. I know what I know about this game. Whoever you are and what you know, you plop yourself in there, whether it's random or not. Again, this is all in your imagination. And you find who you want to side with. You find what faction you want to create or take over, and you do that. I haven't exactly explained how I would go into the clerics, but or the clerics. I just walk in and say, I know a whole bunch of things, and they'll be like, how do you know a bunch of things? And I'll just start explaining, just giving a whole bunch of secrets, and they'll be like, okay, you know shit. They take me to their leader, most likely, or kill me. If they kill me, this never happens. And I kind of explained to their leader, hey, let me help you out. And every time I help them out, I kind of take more power and influence until I'm really the one calling the shots. So it was really, at first, I start advising. I kind of go in and say, hey, I know stuff. Here's the stuff I know. Yep, you expected not a random person to know this, right? So they take me to their leader, advise. Eventually, I'm calling the shots, right? Or at the very least, I have a very powerful position. But yeah, that's what I got. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. Give me any comments of any tips. I'm sorry if this was low quality. I very much apologize. If there's any tips you have at all, anything you'd rather me explain in the future, I would love any tips. I actually did record this a few minutes before, and I realized there's no sound. So if I figure out there's no sound on this recording, I'm literally gonna slap myself in the face. But yeah, that's me. It's Patty P, Patrick, whatever you want to call me. Staggered Crib is my username on Xbox. I probably should not say that, but who cares? All right. Have a good day, horrible day. Don't die. I don't know. Just thank you. Maybe. Bye bye.